So, more advanced topic. My job is to deal with social marketers. I spend all day long trying to help advertisers make better decisions about how to market across the social web. And when I was at school at Stanford, I learned about a guy called Steve Blank, who's well known and as the godfather of customer development. He and Eric Ries are kind of like a tag team. Eric Ries is the lean startup guy. Steve Blank is the customer development guy. Together, they're superheroes. So I took a page out of Steve's book and I tried to walk around to all my customers throughout the last few years and ask them, what is a social marketing campaign? And this is what I saw. People were confused. No one knew. Not only is the rate of change accelerating, but audiences are being fragmented across platforms. So we as marketers need one overwhelming theme that allows us to better understand what it is that social marketing really means. And this is my hypothesis. You are a media company. If you're engaging in social marketing, you own an audience, you're publishing content, you're building the infrastructure for that audience. Therefore, you are a media company. So when I went around and talked to something like 300 agencies around the world, so these are all agencies I checked into, I would ask them that question. What do you want from your social advertising? And they'd say, I want likes, or I want fans, or I want video views, or I want Twitter followers. And I kept saying, why do you want those? And don't answer me just because your boss said so. It's truly because social marketing is fundamentally different than these 5 images on this board, in this slide. It's different than a billboard. It's different than radio. It's different than skywriting even. It's different than TV because you're no longer renting audiences. You're no longer leasing a 30-second billboard from a media titan, hoping that someone sees it, maybe being able to track it, hoping that they convert, and then after your spend is done, getting no more attention paid to your business. With social media, you get to buy, own, and re-engage. And one way to make this really easy to understand is Facebook is like Twitter is like email. They're all audience channels. So Living Social did a great job of growing its business because it had access to emails through an audience channel and published its product through there. So think of the news feed and the Twitter stream like the email audience channel. Tools are going to be developed. Businesses are going to be formed around acquiring emails or fans or Twitter followers more efficiently. People are going to be in charge of creating really amazing content. And then businesses are going to be able to monetize these audience channels, especially as things like Facebook credits gets integrated into the post level and allows for one-click transactions. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm predicting that. So here's how you publish better content, and we're going to jump all around. What we found is that predicting is nearly impossible and reacting is the future. I had some smart data scientists at Stanford. Shout out to Noah. He's a PhD in decision analysis, and he built this Bayesian belief network under the auspices that we would be able to correlate various characteristics of posts to each other, whether positively or negatively. So the length of the post might lead to likes, which might also be correlated to whether or not you had a smile or an exclamation point, or clicks might be driven more by exclamation points. It turns out that it's impossible to predict how well your content's going to do based on the content of your content, I guess I can say that, because you can't control for things like a tsunami or a 9/11 or a smash hit or a viral video. You can't control for that. So reacting is the future. You have to identify content that's trending or identify ways that you can react in more of a real-time way to your audience with content that entertains them, educates them, and ultimately drives engagement. So what does good content look like? It looks like this. It has a steep acceleration velocity, or attention velocity, meaning as soon as my content is published to the newsfeed, or as soon as my email is sent out, I get lots of opens on my email, or I get lots of likes, comments, and shares on my content, because that starts a snowball effect, especially with the EdgeRank algorithm. If I publish a piece of content and no one pays attention to it, and it starts to slide down the newsfeed, when people start paying attention to it, the opportunity for it to get viral attention or organic growth is tremendously hindered. So the goal is to find content that just goes boom out of the gates. And that's how you get more attention for your dollar and assuming your audience size remains the same. So bad content. Why is your content bad? Well, you probably published it while your fans were sleeping. Maybe you published it while they were at work. Maybe you don't publish consistently. It's all about consistency. Probably every 3 hours you should be publishing something. Maybe all you're doing is hard sells with spammy URLs and you didn't include a call to action and it wasn't visual. More or less, you suck at social marketing. What is great content? Well, it includes like, comment, and share. It's timely, visual, and consistent. I was at Facebook and a guy called Gokul, who's in charge of Facebook's ad platform, made a presentation. And these are the 3 words that stood out to me the most: visual, timely, and consistent. Make sure it's published at the right time. Make sure it's amazingly visual, and make sure your audience is used to experiencing your content at a particular point in time or during their day. For example, if you would discover that a segment of your audience always clicks like or comment or shares or comments or shares your content at noon every day because they're on their lunch break, well then keep posting content at that same time, and you're going to keep integrating your messages into the graph, the social graph of those users, forming a stronger connection, and then making it easier to distribute your content even more. So most people say, well, that's great. It's good to know how content looks, and it's great to know that I can't predict it. So how do I find good content? Well, we have a tool, and this is going to be my only hard sell. If you're watching, go sign up for socialtimeline.co. The general idea is that it shows you the velocity of attention on content objects given a subset of pages using the Graph API. So we could say, for all of the football teams on Facebook, which page's piece of content is getting the most attention from time unit 1 to time unit 2, respective to all other pages' pieces of content in that group of pages. And then from time unit 2 to time unit 3, does that acceleration persist or does it decline? And if it declines, then that page post moves off the screen and you start to see fresher content surface. This is a great way to discover trends. This is a great way to learn about how good brands are publishing great content. And it's a great way to keep yourself honest. So finally, ROI. It's real simple. It's an equation. Dollars in must be better than dollars out, or equal to or greater than dollars out. So I drew this on a piece of paper. You got this paid media, these ads, and you send them to your website, and maybe someone converts and signs up for your product, but most likely someone went over to one of your earned or owned audiences, meaning they liked your page, or they signed up for your email list, or they became a follower on Twitter. Then you have the opportunity to keep publishing content to them. Through that, you're going to get more audience, which is going to create more value for you in the long run. Or you're going to create direct dollar transactions, meaning you published a shortened URL that linked out to an address that you were going to sell. Some users from the newsfeed clicked out of the newsfeed to that URL. They ended up buying a product, a pixel fires, Google Analytics tracks it, and then ultimately you know that that piece of content drove that sale. So if you're measuring your cost of paid media, cost of content creation, cost of moderation, plus cost of analysis, that must be equal to or less than the value of the free attention you're earning, which is a hard thing to calculate, and total sales generated. So if you truly believe that just getting your business in front of more people is going to generate more sales in the long term, and you need to build a relationship with people, then you highly value free attention. And you can't get it really anywhere else at the same scale, with the same consistency and the same quality as Facebook. Your sales will follow, but it's a longer cycle. It's not going to happen magically overnight. A great example is we have customers that spend for 6 months on building out their fan page, on creating content, on coming up with strategies. And it's only after 6 months that they start publishing links to actually purchase their products, and they start driving sales because they built an authentic relationship with a constituency of customers that will now buy their products. And it's really amazing what kind of effect that can have on your business. So holistically, it looks like this. You track conversions via ads and posts. So you publish an ad or you publish a post, user clicks on a shortened URL, they're out at a web page, they then buy a product, you've got Google Analytics strung up in here, and then you track it and you say, okay, well, this post got me 479 conversions and this ad got me 191, so let's learn, and this post got me 129. These were posts of the same audience, so what can I learn about this particular post that I published that drove so many more sales? Then you can start to optimize for ROI. One of the last things I'll leave you with, I got 2 things to leave you with. Social marketing, particularly Facebook, is not about cheap. Cheap doesn't do you justice. If you decide you want to fly on a cheap private jet and that jet crashes, you're dead and you saved $5,000. So price is what you pay and value is what you get, and make sure that you're focusing on the end goal, not on some vanity metrics like number of fans. Make sure you're getting a high quality audience. Make sure you're communicating to them regularly. Make sure you're creating an amazing experience, because that will pay dividends in the long term. A whole bunch of cheap fans or a whole bunch of cheap video views is not going to change your business in the same way that the amazing and transformative communication tools available through Facebook can do. So that's one thing. And the second thing is native is huge. If you're not familiar with native advertising, which I'd like to believe was coined by my co-founder at ShareThrough, Dan, I think he did, which is pretty awesome, is the idea that IAB standard display ads, 300 by 250s and 728 by 90s, are going out the window. And the reason being is that new experiences on the web, be it mobile or be it really cool applications, don't build into their website a place for an IAB standard ad. They build into their website an amazing experience. And with that experience comes the opportunity to natively monetize it with an ad endemic to the platform itself. So Facebook's got sponsored story, and Twitter's got sponsored tweets, and StumbleUpon has sponsored stumbles. Pinterest is likely launching an ad platform. YouTube has TrueView. All fundamentally different than IAB standard ads, but capable of creating just as much awareness and, if not better, return on investment. So native is huge. Here's open resources. You can get this on Facebook as well if you go to that preferred marketing developers link I sent you. And that is all. Happy to field questions. Please feel free to tweet at me. I'd love to get your feedback. Thanks so much.